So happy 2023. These are my predictions for this coming year. Hi, I'm Jed. This is CoCulture. So 2022 was a different year with the transition from COVID to non-COVID, and things will continue to transform. That's not any part of my prediction. That is what happened. In 2022, one of my big predictions was inflation. So inflation, it was obvious it was coming. It came, and it came in a big way. It's impacted our industry in a large way. Every one of our major brands, Stobe, to Miyabi, Olives Willing, they have gone up in a pretty considerable way. The shipping is a big one, and just other costs went up. It can be arguable if they are reasonable or not, but they were what they were. We're starting to see a little bit of fatigue from that, from the general public. So people are definitely buying less. That is happening. If you look in many industries, our industry is feeling it. Bike industries is a big one, huge one. I'm very into mountain biking, and it's incredible how much pressure there was on the mountain bike industry, and now how much pressure is off of the mountain bike industry. Same thing to a certain degree. During COVID, housewares was incredible. People couldn't get the right knife. They couldn't get enough cookware. They couldn't get the right cutting board. It was just go. And now people are like, hey, I got what I need. Everything's fine. I'm going out more. And there's just less pressure, which is a great thing because we had massive bottlenecks and we couldn't get product to save our lives. And now we're getting things on a regular basis, which is awesome. Hopefully some normality. But what is not normal is that some of the prices are still very high. So I predict that we're going to see some price fluctuations in the downward way this year. And what I kind of am not very excited about, but I think it's going to come, is that it's going to come in the way of discounting and not actually price reductions. And what that means is that wholesalers and manufacturers are going to try to hold their new pricing and offer discounts to turn inventory, but not actually reduce the pricing. And so you're going to then see more sale pricing with the original new price sticking until the point in which the economy can stick to the price in which is become the new normal. So this I don't think is awesome. I would love to see if there's price reductions at the wholesale level, at the manufacturing level, if that actually went down and offered customers better pricing. I think things went too far, and we came down by 10 or 15%, not the 30 and 35%, maybe even more that we saw generally throughout the second part of COVID. So I think that's going to happen to some degree. It would be nice if it became sticky, but I kind of suspect that it's going to be discounting and random pricing at random places depending on who the manufacturer and who the distributor and where the retailer is. So it's going to be a funny market for a little while when it comes to pricing. So prediction number 2 has a lot to do with prediction number 1. It's going to be less for the same price. So this is what economists call shrinkflation. So things in which you had bought maybe a liter of something for $9.99 is now 700 mils or 800 mils for $9.99. It's the same price that you're used to paying, but it's less. And this is going to happen, I think, more and more. Where there has to be some cost cutting somewhere for whatever reason, and things get smaller and smaller. So prediction number 3 really excites me. So the beginning of the end of nonstick cookware. The reason that I see this happening is that the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in the US, has made a recommendation in their last report about Gen X chemicals. That was a replacement for what was known as the toxic chemicals within Teflon. That was the PFOA chemicals that you'll see big circles on that cookware that doesn't actually contain it. The replacement chemicals have been found to be pretty much the same toxicity as the stuff that was taken out. So the replacement is just as bad. And this has become understood from the EPA. They have made recommendations to government, and some state governments are making the choice to ban all of the family of these products from food service style things that comes from pizza containers and packaging for food, but cookware is being thrown in there, which is tremendous. So state by state, it's going to become illegal to sell nonstick cookware as it is today. Using any of the family of chemicals, 4,000 plus chemicals that are in what's called PFAS chemicals. So everything that they would try to move and change to, what you see now is a PTFE chemical that you see being used in most all nonstick, these are going to become banned. And so the issue is like, what happens? So I'm actually seeing big manufacturers make some changes. For instance, OXO, Good Grips, as a lot of people would know it, is making a massive change. They're discontinuing selling nonstick cookware. Not that they were a huge, big cookware player anyways, but they're a massive, massive brand in huge amounts of stores from mom and pops right up to the big majors. And they have discontinued the nonstick, and they're introducing carbon steel. So it's a Chinese-made carbon steel that I will actually be testing on this channel. That is what it is. It's carbon steel with a silicone handle, and it's going to replace nonstick for them because they know it's just going to be a massive problem in trying to sell nonstick, like chemical-based nonstick, into the market. So you might as well go to the next best thing that I think is the first best thing, that is carbon steel. That can work just as well. There's a massive big education component that's going to have to come with that, and that's what I referred to of, I'm going to be testing that cookware, and I'm going to be looking at how we can help more people understand how to use some of maybe these major brands that are going to be coming along with carbon steel, which is massively exciting. But before I get too excited and frothy at the mouth, what I'm saying is that this could be the beginning of the end. This change in regulation, this change in laws, state by state, once it becomes more widely adopted, Canada will probably get on board. There's already places in Europe that don't allow, and a lot of first world countries will start to move to this place to ban this entire family of chemicals when it comes to touching food and ingesting these chemicals, which are known to be carcinogenic. So super exciting for me. So prediction number 4 from prediction number 3. Makers will continue to reinvent the wheel to continue to try to make a buck. So you'll see this with brands like Hexclad. They wrap up all their marketing to try to promise you that it's something that it's not. And it's just a whole bunch of BS, right? Like those types of cookwares are made to be a sales gimmicky thing, so you just buy them. They try their best to get away from nonstick, but it's nonstick. It's just, it's a pig with lipstick put on it. And, that's how the market's going to continue. So my advice on this prediction is don't get duped. Like, nobody is ever going to make a Teflon style PTFE chemical cookware that's going to have longevity. It's not going to happen, and like this brand Hexclad tries to do that, and it doesn't work, right? It can work for a certain amount of time, but it's the same as all of them. Swiss Diamond and Scampan and all the ones that have tried to reinvent the wheel, it's the same wheel. So that's going to continue to be a problem, so watch for that. So my last prediction, which I'm really excited about, is innovation. So we've gone through a couple of years, a couple of 3 years maybe, of not really having a lot of innovation. People were focused on the pandemic. They were focused about just producing the product. We had suppliers like USA Pan out of the US that makes a really high quality, heavy gauge bakeware. They shrank what they made because they only could produce so much. So their core line is all they were making. And there was no innovation. It was actually their innovation shrunk just so they could meet demand. And that's what's been happening from a lot of suppliers. They just are trying to meet demand. As I said at the beginning, that demand's going to stop being such a pressure, and we're going to start seeing innovation again, which is super exciting because innovation, from my point of view, that's how we get creative ideas to give solutions to things like nonstick cookware. When people are like, "Oh, but I need that," it's like, well, maybe we just haven't invented the thing that you need yet. And if we get back into an innovation mode, then hopefully we'll start to see more of those products in which maybe will help reduce other products, and that's really exciting. So those are my predictions for 2023. Any questions, any comments, please throw them below, and thanks so much. Have a wonderful new year.